Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back. I gotta admit, it's just so weird with the snow week and everything last week, and I know I've felt like a little off my game, and I don't know. While it was nice to have unexpected break, it was kind of a pain. I hope everybody did okay in the snow, staying warm, and getting around town or not getting around town. It oops, good. Um, but I don't know. I think it was all right, considering we don't have an assignment due this week. So tonight what we got going on is a couple of things. We'll start out with Prime Minister's questions. It's been a pretty quiet week. I'm sure people are working on Project Five, and if there's anything about Project Five that you'd like to know about, I'm happy to answer questions now. Um, and then we'll spend the rest of the class doing mob programming, which is it'll be structured similarly to how the pair programming was, that first pair programming. So I'm going to spend some time doing the introduction, and then we'll do an operating theater mob programming to give everybody an idea of what it might look like. And then we'll spend the remainder of the class working in breakout rooms on a kata in your own mobs. Yeah, let's get started then. Oh, I guess sorry. And the other thing is, I pushed some stuff later into the term. Certainly, the mob programming is starting this week. But Project 6, the Android project, I was going to assign it this week, but there's really not enough time in class. And I'm guessing that most of you are probably already working on, still working on Project 5 and will be for a couple more days. There is a little bit of prep work for Project 6, just like there was for Project 5, setting up a new IntelliJ. Actually, there's way more. Anyway, I'll try to put something this weekend so that you can make sure to get the tools for Android all set up with plenty of time, but then we'll really dive into Project 6 next week. Well, anyway, how's everybody been? What's on your mind? Prime Minister's questions. What can I tell you about stuff? How are people doing on Project 5? Anything there that like to discuss? Questions, feedback? Everybody got it all done already? Hope people have started it. Yeah. If there aren't any questions, I'm happy to dive right into the mod programs of the content for tonight. Oh wait, there you go. Does Project 6 build off Project 4? Yes. Yeah, you persist to XML. You certainly have the same domain classes. However, with Project 6, it's an Android application, so no more command line to parse. Finally, yay! Still got to do the validation of input, but you do it in a different way. So there'll be some stuff from Project 4 that you'll reuse, but there's also a lot of new code. Yeah. Sweet. Let's dive into it. So let's see here, mob and ensemble programming. I hope you all had an opportunity to review the lecture on ensemble programming. It's sort of the um, second half of the pair programming one. I put together a worksheet. I don't even know what you call these things anymore. Anyway, some framing for what we're doing tonight. Notes for all of us so that we can play along. Good, looks like we were able to access it. So I'm going to start off here with an introduction to mob and ensemble programming. So, as I said in the lecture, pair programming is a kind of was very revolutionary for its time, and its time was the final years of the 20th century, when people were sort of rediscovering the advantages of working together and starting to put together some patterns that work. Really, in the last 10 or so years, so the second and now third decade of the 21st century, mob programming has become a thing. And so in mob programming, instead of just two people working together, you have a whole team of people rallying around a problem to solve it, and everybody's coding, everybody's looking at the code, everybody's talking about the code, everybody's providing feedback on the code. And that's what we'll explore here in the second half of the course. So this week, the week after that, and then the week after that, so basically the last three lectures before the final exam, we will dedicate some or all of class to mob programming. So we'll be working once again in the Portland State Java Kata's Winter 2023 GitHub repository. While giving this introduction, I encourage everybody to dust off their checkout, get the latest changes, and make sure that everything still builds in your environment. So we'll start off with an overview of mob programming and talk about some of the roles that are involved with it. Then we'll do an operating theater exercise in which we are doing the tennis kata. I'll talk about the final exam later, just as you were the first day. You'll get there. Don't worry about it. And then we will. Then we will. In the operating theater, if you'd like to be part of the mob, we have people who are here in the classroom. We have people who are remote. Please enter your name into the developers section of the pom.xml for the tennis kata. So you can do all of that while I'm talking about mob and ensemble programming. Now, I use mob and ensemble interchangeably. The thing I like about mob is that it's one syllable, so it's a little less for me to. Actually, it's a lot less for me to say. But there are some distinctions in the literature, and as I say in the lecture, there are some distinctions between the terminology, but I'll use them interchangeably to keep things simple. So the model of mob programming is that all the brilliant minds work together on the same thing at the same time, in the same place, and at the same computer. It really is a call to action for everybody who contributes to the solution to be involved, to contribute what they know, and to make it as awesome as it can be. So this really has all of the benefits of pair programming, but even more so. So you have even more voices that are contributing to software development, and you end up with even more people who are familiar with the solution and can then later evolve it. So lots more details in the lecture, but there are a couple of things I want to call out about the sort of fundamental roles of ensemble programming. There's and the terminology should be largely familiar from pair programming. There is a driver in mob programming, and so this is the intelligent input device, right? This is the person whose hands are on the keyboard who is writing the code. And drivers in a mob, in a mob, is even more important that people articulate what they're thinking. It's much more of a conversation because there's more people involved as opposed to just two. And so the driver may use prompts like, well, tell me what to write, or okay, how should we test this, right? They'll listen to what the navigator is telling them, but then ask questions that are meant to spur action and get people thinking. There's also the navigator. This role is also referred to as the designated navigator. And so, much like in pair programming, the navigator is the person who guides the driver and is thinking a little bit more strategically. But in mob programming, the navigator also takes on the role of listening to the ideas of the entire ensemble and then ultimately filtering those for the driver. The driver is not meant to listen to everybody, because boy, we've got like 6 other people that are all shouting ideas. It can be really hard to type. So the driver is listening primarily to, well, actually exclusively to the navigator, to that designated navigator, to then get direction, to then provide that initial feedback, in the context of the entire ensemble. And the navigator is less of a director and more of a facilitator. I think that's an important difference between mob and pair programming. And so the navigator, encourages people to speak up and maybe even, look for people that maybe are thinking about something or are looking for an opportunity to contribute, and then the navigator can help bring them into the conversation. And then everybody else in the mob is like the mobber. So this isn't the person, this is someone else who is just looking at the entire problem, maybe doing a little bit of research in the background, maybe sketching out some ideas, certainly playing, certainly watching and observing, and then contributing what they think. So what their job is to inform the advice that's given by the navigator to the driver. And so in addition to actually to reading, they can also do some writing. So for instance, they can record, so they're not coding, but they can maybe take notes of like, oh yeah, right, we had 3 options here. I'll write down the 3 options, even when we decided to go with one. Hey, if that one doesn't pan out, the mobbers can help the ensemble collectively remember what has happened. So those are the 3 fundamental roles of ensemble programming. So the driver, the navigator, and the mobber. And in the lecture, you may recall there are a whole bunch of more advanced roles. I might include those for completeness. For your first time, I encourage you to stick with these roles, just to get some experience. And hey, maybe next week or the week after, your mob may decide to maybe have some more specialists. But tonight, let's just start out with the general driver, navigator, and mobber and see how it goes. Some advice that I recommend that members of an ensemble take. Just like in pairing, it's important to speak at the highest level of abstraction that the driver is familiar with. In some mobs, the driver might actually, yes, need to be told every letter to type, but probably not. So saying something like, hey, create a method named blah, or hey, let's write a test that does blah, that might be the appropriate level of abstraction. You won't know it right at the beginning, you'll have to explore it, but realize that you need to find the right level of specificity that fits with that driver. In mob programming, we really stress the values of kindness, consideration, and respect. I wrote into this in the lecture, lots of examples there. But a mob, even more so than a pair, you're meant to work together to accomplish the problem together. Talk about a whole bunch of anti-patterns like, hey, one person is coding and everybody's watching. That's not what we're here to do. It's meant to be a conversation. And when people take turns, you're not going to get into that situation. And I suppose I didn't call it out explicitly yet, but just like in pair programming, please rotate drivers, rotate navigators, rotate mobbers through the mob every couple of minutes, every few minutes. So that not only do people get experience here in this learning environment, but that multiple people have an opportunity to contribute to the solution in different ways. Even though an ensemble is pretty small, 6, maybe 7 people, it's easy for some people can get lost or can be diminished, and not everybody will articulate what they're thinking, and so then. Part of mob program is acknowledging that people who are quiet or maybe have the least privilege in the group ought to be encouraged to contribute and have their voices heard. So, as I said, there are some more advanced roles. We talk about the automationist or the traffic cop or anthropologist or whatever. Find out where you should start. It's good to know about, and maybe you'll find yourself like, oh yeah, even though my role is a mobber, I should really go do some research, or hey, I should write that down. It seems like a really good idea, or hey, this particular interaction with these 2 people didn't work very well. Let's make a note of that for the reflection, for the retrospective, to explore and figure out what to do. So those are some of the high points of ensemble programming that I wanted to just touch upon. There's lots more resources out there, and I've linked to them here. There's, of course, the screencast and the lecture notes. notes, but also some really good books, an awesome podcast, some cool stuff in GitHub in terms of learning about this. The mob programming community really values giving back and providing resources. Now, this is secret. This is proprietary. They realize that good ideas flourish when those good ideas are. Any questions or comments about mob and ensemble programming? Anything that you'd like to know that I didn't answer? Yeah. 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 Yeah, thanks. Thanks for pointing out some of the just inherent differences between mobbing in person and mobbing remotely. Uh, I think it'll be interesting to explore tonight. I mean, clearly the vast majority of people are remote, and we'll have a couple of mobs who are remote that we can compare and contrast their experiences with the people who are here in the room. Um, I encourage everybody to experience both in person and mobbing. I think is a good part of the learning experience. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to start with an operating theater activity. And I don't know, we'll go for do that for like an hour, and you'll watch us rotate through several drivers and navigators. And we'll be working on the tennis kata. So this is a code kata which scores the game of tennis, which I haven't watched tennis in a while, and so I had to remember exactly how all of the scoring works. But each player has a score, and it's referred to as when you have when you haven't scored yet, or you haven't won game. Anyway, you haven't won a volley. We start out with a score of love, and then it goes 15, 30, 40, and then it's the advantage when we're tied. And deuce. And anyway, there's also some good stuff here in the kata, and we're going to implement some code that models a tennis game and helps us understand what the score is. And then as people as people, what do they call it? Score? Well, anyway, we can figure it out as we do the kata. But we'll go through the whole. We'll see how much we can get done in an hour. And so then we will, just like we did last time, apply the Pomodoro technique. So we'll have 7-minute mobbing sessions followed by a 2-minute reflection on what we saw. Give us an opportunity to maybe some call outs, behaviors that were effective that we want to amplify and do more of, maybe some behaviors that were ineffective that we want to make sure don't happen again. And then, so we'll rotate through the roles. So I'm going to be the initial navigator, the initial designated navigator, and hopefully someone has signed up to be the first driver. And then we'll rotate through. So at the end of the rotation, the designated navigator returns to being a mobber, and the current driver becomes the new navigator. And then we just go through a list to have the next student volunteer be the next driver. And we can decide whether we want to share code via just GitHub push pulls, or we can use Code with me. And so we'll do that for about an hour. Then we'll take a break, because I'm sure I'll be pretty tired by then. And then we'll break up into our own mobs. Ideally with 5 or 6 people. There are 4 people here in the room. Maybe I'll join the mob. I don't know. And we'll work on a different kata called the Bank OCR kata. Let's see here. Oh, and you're probably familiar with this, but the Java Kata's Winter 2023 repository has, I created Maven projects for the tennis kata, and then also for up to 7 rooms of Bank OCR. We'll probably need like 4. So I think we'll be okay there. And then please just make sure before you push your code to GitHub, make sure it compiles so that it doesn't break other groups, other mobs. And be sure to rotate your roles and reflect on your experiences. That's all part of mob programming. It's not just programming; it's learning as a group and inspecting and adapting how you work, how you get the code done, so you can be more effective going forward. And then finally, we will, after we've, I don't know, done the Bank OCR until, I don't know, 8:30 or so, or whenever we decide. I would like each room to do a final reflection on just holistically the whole thing and talk about what worked well, what didn't, and any ideas that they have for the future. And we'll do a little report out after that, and then call it a night. So, any questions about what we'll do in the rest of class before we dive in? Okay. So let's see here. I'm going to get the latest changes here to see who has signed up. I hope people have signed up. I'm sure you have. Thought you would have. Oh, did no one sign up yet? Or did I do something wrong? Who wants to volunteer? Give folks a moment or two to tennis. Okay. Need some folks to volunteer. I think your own mobbing will go much better if you have an opportunity to see some other people do it first. But I realize it does mean having to put yourself out there. Okay, awesome. Thanks. Well, yeah, well, okay. We need more than just 2 of us, though.
I'll volunteer. I just have to
Thank
get
you.
to the file.
Actually, yeah. Let me arrange this. I'll move this table right here so we can all sit down. Maybe. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see here. Well, actually, what do it facing the screen? Is that easier? Oh, yeah. Or maybe. Yeah, actually, let's put 2 tables together. I'll just sit here with my back to the screen. I'll like, oh wait, no, I need to keep it plugged in. How am I going to do that? You just want to bring your laptops and follow along on Zoom? Would that work? Although you won't be able to see. Everyone's going to pause the recording while we're doing all this nonsense. Okay. You guys get on the Zoom
Yes.
without audio?
Oh, do you want us to turn on audio?
No, without audio.
Without audio.
Yep.
Okay.
And let's see here. David, did you say that you were volunteering also?
Yeah, I'll volunteer.
Yeah, could you sign up in the in that pom.xml?
Yeah, just about to push it.
Thank you. If you guys could too. Yeah, you guys, that'd be awesome. Thanks, in-room people. Yeah, pull up another table or.
Okay, I'm a little confused. So there's first driver and then there's second navigator.
Oh, yeah, and basically I'm just calling out the fact that the student volunteer one will be the first driver, and then they will move to be navigator next.
Okay.
Yeah, that might have been a little confusing, sorry. Thanks, Ryoshi. David, awesome. Okay, well, we're all signing up for this.
David Roberts.
Yeah.
He put his name on second. I was trying to push.
Well, we can all talk and coordinate amongst ourselves. Who wants to be, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Push for.
Did you put yourself on 3?
No,
Oh my God.
Actually, I did it. Oh my god, I did it wrong. Oh, that was dumb. I was rushing. Let me fix this. Oh, couldn't.
So seriously, Ryoshi, you are the first driver. When you're ready to do some coding, could you please share your screen?
I got
No.
I got 5.
You did 5?
I'm gonna do 5.
You did. What did you do? You already did 5?
You did 5?
Nice. I didn't do 4. You did 4.
I'm gonna pull. Yeah.
Alright.
Now I've got divergent branches.
Yeah.
Did you do student 3?
No.
Who did student 3?
I don't know.
No, I don't see anybody
Alright,
done
I'll do
student 3.
student 3.
Okay.
Okay, fast forward. Did it work?
Shreyoshi, you're up. Could you come off mute? Just want to make sure that technology works. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Here, let me turn up the volume a little bit. Okay,
Finally.
figured it out. Everybody got their reservation in? Nice. Yeah, let me pull down everybody so I know who's next here. Nice. Okay, so it'll be Shiroshi is the first driver and will navigate second, then David B, then Daniel, then Polina, then Logan, then that's it? No,
Oh,
6,
that's me
1,
then.
2, 3, 4. Okay,
Oh,
oh,
mine's
we're next.
broken.
Okay.
I think I got someone else's. Yeah, it's a mess up.
Yeah, do a git pull.
I did that.
Yeah.
It's not anything. I've been trying to see.
Oh, so it's not possible fast forward border. Interesting.
Yeah. So there's
Git.
Just stash, get stash and then get full.
yeah.
Just let it override everything.
Yeah.
There's too much going on. Huh.
Okay, so now you need to put yourself back because you. Or did it? I said notable changes to save. Okay, well let's get started. And you're less than listening anyway, so you
Yeah,
got like
yeah,
yeah.
that's fine.
Okay, awesome.
Oh,
Okay, well, group, where do we start? So then, when we think about the tennis kata, the game of tennis, where does it make sense to start, or like what questions do we have? I'll use the timer.
Is there a tennis kata page?
Yeah, it was linked to on the. Did you get the Google Doc?
Was it in the Zoom?
Yes, the Zoom chat. It had the Google Doc.
There's a link.
You can also look in the Slack channel and then here's this thing and it has.
Slack
Oh,
channel.
thanks. Yeah, that'll work too. I'm still trying to figure out how to find the clock app on my phone. We're just batting 1,000 tonight.
Just click on this.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
General.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the first test that we should write?
Set up for tests for the scoring system.
Yeah.
Seems logical.
Okay. So let's see here, Shriyoshi. Yeah, thanks for opening up the tests. So, like, what would be a good first test? Like, sort of the fundamental thing.
A win condition, or
Oh, like winning the game.
yeah. Well, testing for. So we'd have to compare the two players' points. I don't really know that, but like if they have the same points,
Like, in that sense, testing if they have points in the first
yeah,
place.
do they have points in the first place? Yeah.
Okay, so like, maybe that's it. Like, the first test is like both players have a score of 0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So yeah, Shriyoshi, what do you think about that? Having having a test where both, initially both player 1 and player 2 have a score of
Does
0.
the driver get to think, or do they just?
So first we need to initiate the game with maybe the player's name. So we might check who are the players and their scores initially.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. I have the name of this first test be. How about initially each player has a score of 0? That's a lot. But anyway, let's just start there.
Have a name and also have a score.
Yeah. I don't think do we really need names of the players? Just have player 1, player 2 to start with, you
Yeah,
think?
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, then should there be like variables for?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Do you want to write those first, or do you want to write the test first?
Just the name. Like-
Let's skip the names for now because it really technically wasn't a requirement. So, but we can have. So let's see. I mean, we should have a class. I guess we'll call it tennis. Is that the name of the main class? Yeah. So let's see. Let's make a new tennis, and let's put that into a variable called store that into a variable called tennis. Little t tennis. Nice. And then what? To sort of assert that they're like maybe there's get player 1 score equal to 0, get player 2 score equal to 0. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
That's a good point. Everybody can't necessarily see you all, but I can provide like the descriptive text commentary. The mob nods in agreement.
I think that is not used here.
See here, assert that, capital T that, yeah. And then, yeah, so then you can, it looks like it can import it. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, you got it. Okay, then you want the actual value. So you'd say like something like tennis dot get player one score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then yeah, let's create that method. Sorry, you were about to say?
Just equal to 0.
Yeah. Yep. Now, how do we want to represent the score? Because it's kind of like things like love and juice or whatever, right? I mean,
Does Java have enums?
Java does have enums. You want to do it in enum?
Yeah.
That sounds a good idea. Okay. Shiroshi, do you know how to write an enum
Yeah.
class?
Yeah. Should I?
Nice. Well, you know, that's a good point. Do we want to put it in this class, or do we can put it, we can declare it inside the tennis class? Maybe we just do that. Yeah.
Easier.
And then score.
Nice. Yeah, I like that.
Int or string, what kind of things we?
Oh, it's what? It's usually like all caps. So just say like love, because I guess the score shouldn't be 0. The score should be love. Is that right? You say love,
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretend-
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. We've got domain expert here. Oh, let's only write as much as we absolutely need to. So we'll leave the other scores for later. So let's write a test. You know, let's not write the code until we have a test for it. So yeah.
Maybe score.
Yep. Nice. Yep. And then that will be. Oh, actually, I think you need to use the equal to method with Hamcrest. Yeah. So it's the second argument to assert that. Yep. Yeah. Equal, and not equal. It has to be equal to. I do that all the time too. It's equal to. It looks like IntelliJ doesn't think it's a method yet. No, it's equal to, but then you need the paren. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. This is the same. I think it's a different class, actually. I think it's in like the matchers class or something. Or yeah.
Matcha.
Yeah. Matchers, I think. Yeah, that one equal to. Yeah, that one. Yep. Okay. And then yeah, just yep. Nice. Well, let's run that. Yeah, let's run it and see where we're at. Okay, that worked. And now, yeah, let's do the same thing for player 2 score. Although no, actually, let's leave it here because we just reached the end of the time box. Okay, cool. So, what do we think, team, about that? So, what were some of the observations that we had? And Triyoshi, you can speak up too.
I still find it weird to start with the test and work.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's a
gotcha.
habit that, like,
Yeah.
yeah. You just want to get it right into like coding it.
Yeah, and then when you told Shirley to slow down, you say, "Oh, just put love for now." Like it's such a tempting to just.
Yeah, right. Is that discipline? No, I get it. Okay, cool. Shiroshi, what was it like being the driver with having like all these voices around you?
Yeah, there were different suggestions from different persons. So we can choose among them. Whatever the group agrees upon. And yes, like whatever we are doing wrong, they can suggest like I should have written maybe the null or something without or maybe not implemented something. Yeah, that would have
That's a good point. Yeah, we didn't see the test fail. Okay. Yeah, we're just starting. It's our first one. Excellent. Shroshi, could you commit and push that code up?
Yeah, sure. Committing.
While Shroshi's doing that, anything from the audience here in the operating theater that you wanted to call out? You got 30 seconds.
It's interesting seeing how other people start it, I guess. And yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes and how it develops.
Well, you're the next driver, David, so you'll have a front row seat. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, let's rotate. So Shroshi, you're the navigator, and David, you're the driver, and the rest of us are just in the mob. So I'll put 7. Actually, well, we'll wait until David shares a screen and gets the latest code. Nice. Okay, let's get started.
So I think the next test should be if we increment the score and get the score again.
So do you want to write a function to do that, or do that in the main method?
Create a test for it in the tennis test inside the test folder. Create a test, name it increment score, and check the score. Something.
And so you want me to create
Yeah.
a tennis class. How are we going to interact with the score once we instantiate the tennis class?
So we will call tennis.increment player1 score.
So we have to make the method.
Yeah, write it here, then we can click from there to go to the test method itself, write the name, write increment player1 score.
Sorry, you want me to? There's no methods yet, though.
It's okay, we can click it,
That's
click on it, and we can click on it, and it will
So you can tell David, so you're like, I wonder what would happen if we wrote the test.
It's okay, just
Wait,
write
so
it.
what do you want me to do?
Just write it, then we'll click on it, and it will create the name increment player1 score. And close the brackets.
Hmm.
Then just right click on that, or just what's the
Extract method.
not extract method. You have to click on it to create a method. I did a command enter in my, so it should be like tennis dot. I think you.
Since I'm the driver, I'm going to write the method first, just to get the ball rolling.
Okay. Well, let's see here. Although I think, I think the driver might also be able to on Windows. It's what? It's Option Alt return. That will show those context actions. Yeah, Alt enter or Alt return.
Tennis dot. You have
So
to.
Alt enter.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
things
coming.
are all messed up.
So
I think it's
tennis,
Alt Shift Enter. I think
Yeah.
it's Shift.
And
So I
you
do
remove the,
Alt Shift Enter.
Yeah.
you have to remove the tennis inside the method, like the argument
Oh yeah.
of this one, and then you do the shortcut. Yeah. So now it should. Okay, it can be void. So we have to check we can right now we in the test what we can do, we can check whether the score has incremented or not without implementing this method.
Oh, yeah.
But so what are we gonna do?
In the test, tennis test, go to the tennis test.
Yep.
So you have to check write the assert that line and check what is the score, and similar to the above test, write the assert that and check the score of that person, like tennis dot player one score, and equal to and this time we want it to be like one incremented, so the one incremented would be 15. So we can what we should we, if we want to make it fair, then we have to create an enum inside the score inside the tennis class. So you have to create an enum for that, I think, if we want it to fail. Otherwise, yeah.
Do we need to create an enum though? Because it's just 15,
enum
like
is created,
a special.
just that you have to add a new value, a new entry in it. After line 18, after line 18 in tennis, yeah, after put a comma after LOV. Put a comma in the above line in line number 18 after love. Yeah, so you can go to the test now, and there should be a semicolon after 15. Because it marks the end of the values.
Yeah, it might be optional. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's optional.
Okay. Now you can go back to the tennis test and compare it to that 15 value that you tennis dot score dot 15. Yeah, I think it should fail now if you can test it.
So it doesn't have what was low.
Yeah, right. So now what we can do is during increment, go to the method get increment player one score. Yeah, here what we can do, we can check the previous score. Like if it was score dot love, then the next score should be no, not in this method. The line number 14. Here you can check if and score. For we have to score the current score.
If only she had some other people that could maybe help her figure out what to do now. All right, maybe we should be
I think
rest of mob. So what do you think should happen here?
We can create a switch. We can, or we can just do if else's. Because we gotta check what the current state, what the current score is, and then what the next score should be if it's incremented. Yeah. So love would go 15, 15 be 30, 30 be 40.
That's how we iterate over.
What? So maybe I just update the
That is
enum
fine.
with the scores.
No, that's not required right now. You can remove the if and.
Cool. And that's the end of our time box. So this is really interesting. So let's talk about our experiences. So what did you notice about this round?
So I think there was like somewhat a debate about whether to continue using enums. Like, and then the stages of thinking, right? Because I think Hiroshi was trying to get it done one state at a time, and then whereas David is trying to like do all of it.
Right, like how far ahead do you
like,
go? Okay. How about the behavior of like the mob overall?
A little bit like pair programming to me.
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
Observing. But it's kind of hard. To me, it's hard to navigate a room that you can't see.
That's a good point.
That's
Yeah,
really
neither of them
hard.
can see the room. Yeah.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. David and Shiryoshi, what was it like on your end?
Yeah, I think I missed that opportunity of asking others. I should have like waited and asked others as well, like their opinions. that you did the that you asked in between. So thank you for that.
Yep.
I think we'll put a camera here. Come on.
It was hard to follow Shiroshi. I really just wanted to do like start writing some code, and it was hard to do it this other way.
Yeah, I think it's one of the challenges of being a driver, both in pair, but probably even more so in mob programming, where it's like, you're there to interpret someone else's approach. But this is how we get the multiple voices to all be integrated into the solution. I suppose otherwise, I mean, it could be like, hey, one person writes it all, and then the other people are like, oh no, change it this way, change it that way. But that seems a little challenging. Cool.
Yeah, it blew my mind that with true test-driven development, you actually just literally write the test first instead of like even a small method that you like. I was very confused at first, like, well, we don't have any code yet. What are we gonna?
Nice. Okay, David, could you commit that and push it to GitHub? And then you will be the next navigator. Who is the next driver? Daniel. Oh, that was like the big booming, like, yeah.
I should turn on sound so I can hear him through my laptop.
No, wait, I don't know. Can you hear him okay through mine? Because otherwise it's going to be echo.
That's
Yeah.
fine. We'll...
Yeah, I wish I could. I don't know. Be better on speakers, but I don't have a long enough HDMI cable. I'll try to remember to bring a longer one next time.
I have an HDMI.
You have an HDMI cable? Wow. Man comes prepared. He's like the MacGyver of. That's a dated reference. All my references are dated, though. Awesome. Okay, let's see here. So let's get the latest changes.
Let's see.
Nah, that's not gonna be long.
What do you need if you want to like share?
Well, I was hoping to get it really either the room audio or the room. Well, we'll figure it out.
I can plug my iPad in too.
Yeah. Maybe that'll help. Well,
I
although
just pushed it.
awesome, thank you.
All right, David.
Okay. Kind of want to get a better sense of the direction of this thing. So for a game, it seems like we need a game loop. Like, are we simulating the game? Is this supposed to be like just like a scorekeeper kind of like?
I think we should incrementally continue the work that we've been doing, and then test that we can increment score for player up to 3 points, which is 40.
Okay. Yeah, so if you go to the tennis class, yeah, 15, 30, 40. And so let's have the get increment player one score.
Yeah.
Let's, instead of saying player one score, we just say player score. So then we can use it for both player 1 and 2.
Well, actually, will that work though? Because
I think
I mean, it's just based on how we call it on the player. Like, we're just gonna call it within the main, so it could just be like.
okay, I'll start down there. I don't know, because this is like a method on the tennis, which is like
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. You'd have to pass a player object, but we don't have a player class. So yeah, we can do that.
If you can hear me, because the mic is far away. I was so we could create like 2-player like variables fields in the tennis class.
Oh, like have a yeah.
And then we could create, because I get what he's saying, we don't want to duplicate code. We could do ones, and then you could pass in a one. We can pass in a 1 or a 2.
Yeah, we've got the enum. You can have a method on an enum. Yeah.
I think in the constructor of tennis, we can initiate the scores of player, and we can keep two fields like player one score and player two score. And in the new tennis method, we can assign it to both love and whosoever method like we are incrementing. Like we can send a parameter like is it player one or player two, and depending on that, we can like increment the score and keep the state in the tennis class.
So am I hearing that we're creating? Oh, there's an echo.
Someone's mic is on.
No, this one is. Mine is. Yeah, never mind. So you unplug.
Okay. All right. So what's the consensus here? Are we creating player one score increment, player two score increment? Are we creating two players inside tennis? Two player.
No, I think there should be just two. What we can do? Two variables which keep the state of player one score and player two score.
Okay. So then, what is the type for player one, player two? Is it simply
Just, ooh,
Enum?
that would be the enum, so it'd be score.
Is it,
okay? So you just want
No.
enums?
No, don't define another enum, it's like a score enum. So like,
A score enum.
Before we
score is the type. So you'd say score player one score.
Yeah. You like
Paulina?
what did
Yeah.
you mean, David, when you said we can create a function on enums?
Oh, so we were talking about having like an increment method that would just have the one logic there. It doesn't matter which player it is. And well, if we wanted to express the logic for going from one enum to another, you could you can implement a method on the score itself. The score, because basically all enum is a class. They can have methods. So you could even have something like just like get next score or increment or
Yeah,
whatever.
that sounds good. I know what you're saying. So so yeah, in the enum score, we're gonna make a method get next score.
So inside the score enum.
Yeah, and I think we'll want to return a score instead of a void, so it'll be public score. Or will it set it? So can you say like this?
No, you can't change that. No, I think you just want to say get the next one. Yeah,
So
I don't know. It's a little.
So if you say get next score, you could get the current. How do you get the current value of the enum for this?
It's this. I kind of think we're being a little too clever here. Why don't we just get something to work and then refactor it? Because I think once you see the code.
No, I feel like we're here now. We got to go through with this.
I don't know.
So if you do get next score, we could use this dot. We could use the ordinal of the
Yeah, it's like. Or what you could do is you can also have fields in a score, and so then you can have like a constructor, and then you pass in the next one. So like when you create love, you would say love, and the next one's 15, and the 15, the next one's 30. I guess this is why I think it's like I recommend that we just get something that's working first, then we can go back and figure out if we can improve the code.
We can use the switch case. In that case, if we get love, then the next score would be like the 15.
And do you want to do that in score, or do you want to do that?
It should be outside. It is a logic of tennis. That's why.
Okay, I like that too.
Increment.
So we're not in anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But if we do switch cases, we're gonna be more. Basically, just incrementing and decrementing. I mean, not decrementing, just incrementing. Yeah.
Well, no, I think that's a good observation. We're just trying to get it to work. Excellent, cool, okay. Wow, okay, let's talk about that round.
it was a lot of planning, and I didn't get to write any code because we're discussing the design moving forward. And we reached a point where there's a couple forks in the road, and we can take either one. And we were just discussing which one is more valid.
Never figured it out, did we?
No.
It's good. Let's get another round. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's
Because
good.
this could have been done anyway. Like you can use an array, you can use enums, you can use switch cases.
Yeah.
That's way too big.
David, what was it like being a remote driver to someone here in the room? Sorry, you were a remote navigator to a driver here in the room.
It was kind of hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's all right. I guess I felt like I kind of failed as the navigator because we didn't get anything done.
No failure at all. Actually, I mean, that happens a lot, right? I mean, we were talking about design, right? We get the, I don't know if it's necessarily easy at the beginning, but we sort of got to a point where we had to make some decisions. So this is the way it goes. Yeah.
I was also pretty stoked on doing some enum methods.
Yeah, we might have a chance later. I think once we see the code, it'll become more apparent. Or at least then we'll have some tests, and when we change the code, we'll still have the tests that work.
That's true.
Is there some commentary in the chats? Nice. Okay, yeah, that's good. Other observations? Yeah.
It wasn't test driven. We were in the class file.
Well, we still
quite
have
a
the
bit.
test. Nice. Okay. Let's see here. Who is next? So let's see here. Yeah. Daniel is navigator, and yeah. We know. Okay. So let's see here.
So I think we left off deciding that we're going to do switch statements.
Yeah, and we do have two, like player 1, player 2, to track the scores. So what test can we write to, do we have a test?
Yeah, I still don't think we have a passing test, so I think we need to make that test pass.
Incremental.
This was, I think this is starting at 15. Yeah. Oh wait, no, that's the incremented one. Okay.
So now we have to say, so get player 1 score. Okay. What is get player 1 score doing again?
It just returns it.
It just returns.
Right now, it just returns.
I see.
I think the get the name is not correct. It should be like increment player 1 score, but there's written get player. So we are.
Okay.
We're trying to get.
Yeah, I think Shriyoshi is pointing out that the name of the test isn't terribly descriptive because.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, is that what you were talking about, or is it the name of the class, or the name of the method?
Player 1 score because this is.
Yeah, inside the tennis, the method get increment player 1 score. So the get should be removed from it because we are not trying to get anything out of it.
Oh, I see.
We're just incrementing the score.
Who's the navigator?
What did she say?
Could you repeat again, Shriyoshi?
So line number 14 in class tennis, the name is get increment player 1 score, but the return is void.
Oh,
So
We got it.
our implemented method name is not the same as the one in the test. So let's make it.
Well, I think it's a kind of a funny sounding name. Get increment player 1. It should be increment player 1 score. So yeah. So that'd be look at that, using the refactoring. Woohoo!
So just
increment player score or player 1's. I think that
I should be small.
So not called on, but it uses, so we pass in player 1 and pass in player 2 into the param. As an argument. Okay, so let's just fix the name first. Let's just fix it. Let's fix the name.
Nice.
Okay, let's start that, and let's fix the test name so it's more descriptive because our test name is not. increment player score.
Oh, okay, I see what we're doing.
And
Okay.
then let's go to
Okay.
the tests, because I didn't like just increment score. Well, let's just say,
Wait, when do it?
You need to hit return, and that'll
So-
it'll take place.
okay,
There you go. Take effect.
and then,
What I was thinking, can we do like the outer method should be like increment player one score, but from inside of player one score, we should call a like common method that would be increment player score. And
okay.
should
Yeah,
I repeat?
Let's change the name of the test here so that it's more descriptive. So increment, it can just be increment player score. Is score, what is it? Increment
Well,
player?
it should be from love to 15. Is that
love,
really?
yeah,
Yeah,
like more
right.
specifically
Yeah.
love to 15.
So just
Love to 15.
before it's implemented, assert that it was love, and then after.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I like it. Copy pasta.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so now, what if we run this right now? Obviously, the first one should pass, and the second is.
No, it's building. It should take it's almost time. Oh, there.
Okay, great. So let's go to where that's failing. So get player one score method. And we notice it's just returning a static score, which we don't want. We want to actually return the score of the player themselves. So this is player one, so let's return player one. It's just player one, because if you scroll up to the top of the file, we have set it as it's a score. They don't have a name, they're just a score, they're just a number. Yeah. So now what if, so right now player one doesn't have anything stored in it. So when we run the test, so if we go back to tests.
And you can also rerun the test by clicking in intelligent. Yeah. So, yep. Yep. Because that way you don't need to navigate away from the code. Just run the test when it hasn't changed.
It's
Okay.
null,
Yeah.
So that-
Okay. Nice.
So now we have to create some sort of set score.
Should we just set them both to love at the start?
We can still,
Yeah,
we
I like
can both
that.
initialize them to love in the start. That's a good
Yeah.
one. So let's initialize these to love.
Constructor or just say equal to?
Just equal to. Score.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Great.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay. So now it's not a problem of get player score, it's increment player score. We haven't implemented that. So why don't we create an if statement if player score. So now if player one equals, or yeah, if player one equals score dot then inside here we want to return. Yeah, that's a good point. Update player one to score.
Let's run the test and find out.
And we don't have player passing, so it's going to fail here.
No, I think this will work.
Or does it?
Yeah, it works.
Because
Because there's only one player. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Hey, we have pass and test now.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. What was that like for people in the room and for people out of the room?
Maybe it's hard to hear when like I'm talking, but
when I had like a stream of thought, but Shriyoshi had another like idea.
Right. Yeah.
I wanted to finish my idea, but I wanted to hear out her idea to see if she's catching something that I was missing. But then when I realized it was like a different fork, or like a different idea.
Oh, right. Yeah. And one of the mobbers should have written down something about that. It's like, yeah, come back to Shiroshi's idea.
For the sake of time, I kind of had to shut it down and just like tell the driver do this and like let's try to implement this.
I agree to the point. That's why I stopped. I agree that we should finish the first thing, like setting the values of player 1 and player 2 first. Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah. But she did catch a good point, like the line 14 name wasn't matching, which I did.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, so thank you.
Yeah, glad I got to do some refactoring too. The code's getting better. What was it like being the driver?
Good.
Yeah.
I think it was something I noticed is not just good. And you're a navigator, you should be, but sometimes it's hard with mob programming to get everyone to get equal voice. It's probably normal because not everyone has ideas at the same time, but it's like when you were doing pair programming, it was like more equal.
Yeah, right. You sort of knew who was supposed to.
It was different.
Nice.
Thanks.
Other thoughts? Is the code all committed? Excellent. Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was smoother. It's like we have came to a consensus on the kind of game logic of what I'm looking.
Hey, awesome. Okay. Cool. Okay, let's see here. Who's up next? So you're navigating. Who's driving your? Okay. So yeah, please share your screen. Well, but remember, you've got like a whole group of people that are just waiting to tell you what to tell him.
Can we start?
Please do.
Unless anyone has other ideas, I was thinking to keep incrementing the scores.
Okay.
Yeah, should we make this take a parameter first?
Okay.
Well, I think either way is
fine.
valid. And so, like, do we refactor it now or do we factor it? Because like, what's the next test? And so, do we start testing player 2 or do we start testing the the scoring?
Actually, I think the scoring probably makes more sense, so we can just start with that.
Yeah, do the logic first, and then fix the players. Yeah.
Is this test driven?
No.
will Professor Whitlock approve of this?
If you want to pause loading, we can go and write the test first.
I mean, since like we're thinking towards adding a parameter of like players, then I guess for the test, you could check with player 2 and see if you can increment player 2.
Oh, right, the test for player 2.
Yeah, because right now it wouldn't work.
Oh,
for
interesting.
player 2.
Some changes.
I have a question. If it's 40, it says they win after they get 1 more point. Should we have a condition if it's 40? Like a win,
Oh.
Well, but there's the whole deuce case, right, where both players have 40, and then you have the advantage. There, I think the state machine gets a little complicated. I hadn't thought that far ahead.
Yeah. So this would be,
we can just do nothing for 1.
yeah, that'll be the 40 case. Or actually, there's multiple cases, so I guess I'll just wait on this.
Write some tests first. Seriously, this is one of the points where it's like, oh, test-driven development. I don't know how to write any more code. I should probably write a test for it. So yeah.
Okay.
Let's write another test.
Probably.
Mom, do you have an idea? Should we do like all the scores, like 15 to 30?
Yes.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
That's a good idea.
then we can stop at 40 because after 40 is special cases.
I noticed you're doing love to 40. Are you going to do everything in 1?
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that's okay. Okay.
And now let's write a test for player 2, maybe. And fail first.
You don't know that's gonna fail. We don't know that yet.
Actually, that's a good point. Do you still need the increment player score from love to 15?
Since it's
Yeah, we can delete that, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. So yeah, GitHub will only. I mean, you only changed a couple lines of code, because right. Anyway.
I think
Nice.
you need to change the name, just player 1. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah.
Oh,
Do a search replace.
Mm.
I'm just gonna do this because it's only 4. Actually, this is player 1's score.
Yeah, we can do
Wait,
player 2.
Oh, yeah, we gotta do that. Okay.
does that mean we're gonna write conventions in the function?
For now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right. It's code. It's very malleable, right? It'll change. Yeah.
It's gonna be okay.
Oh, you're taking on the therapist role. Where it's like, okay, I'm gonna go let down on the couch. I'm gonna tell you about my mother. It's like, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. What is it? What's
Complaining
IntelliJ?
about these, but
Okay, it just hasn't caught up yet. Okay. I lost track of where we're at. Let's run the test and see what happens.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's what it should be. I mean,
Right? Yeah. Implemented it yet.
why did it break?
Okay.
I could just copy and paste the function and just use the player 2.
Yep.
Or
So then we'd have to change this to player. You mean make a second one of these?
Or what was your or?
well, okay. I was gonna say we can use the introduce parameter refactoring for player 1, and then that would change all of the test code to pass in player now. Okay. Yeah, just copy it and then we can fix it.
Pasta.
Yeah, we can copy and fix it later.
Player 1.
The whole function.
Yep. And then
Oh.
we'll have to change that one.
Yeah, how about use the rename,
Or
the rename refactoring instead? Yeah. Sorry. How about you suggest the driver that they use? Yeah, to get all those.
Yep.
Sweet. Sorry, what was that?
I thought it was a 25, but it was a 2.
Mhm.
I think instead of like 2 methods, what we can do like after line 15, like inside the method increment player 1 score, we can call a method increment player score and send the value of player 1 as a parameter.
Totally. Let's get that test green first, though, and then do that refactoring. I think that'll be like great refactoring. Yeah,
Show me the green.
that's right.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh no.
what was 15? Did we miss a player?
player
One
2.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yay, unit tests, right? Would we have found that otherwise? Probably not.
I saw online. There's another online 16. Player 1 needs to be.
I'm changing it.
Wait, you changed the wrong one.
Oh, you're.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is why I should use IntelliJ.
Okay, let's get that.
Yeah, it was gonna be green.
Check the green. Turn it.
Cool. Okay.
Nice.
Okay. How are we doing? What do we observe this time?
I think it was interesting.
Yeah.
It's an idea. It was like, because last time, sometimes I feel like someone gave an idea and then we kind of do those. This time it was like, oh, we kind of all agree to go.
Okay. Yeah. It did seem like we're in pretty good alignment. Yeah.
I think I like at the pace now. It's like you're not like trying to rush it and then taking baby steps. You do know that there are better ways of doing it, or designing proof of concepts.
Shrishi, David, how are you all doing?
It's cool to see, like, I feel like it's gathering momentum, like it's starting to get more progress, and it seems like the group's coming together more.
Yeah.
I think what we are doing is like we are writing the code first and not planning ahead, like what future is there for the code. Like initially, before writing, we should plan first,
Oh,
like what
interesting.
our main goal is.
Oh yeah, say more.
Because one time we did pair programming, we were thinking so far ahead. And we were thinking so far ahead, and we're just like, oh, how's that gonna work? And then we spent like the whole time planning. We didn't get like any code because we were trying to get it to work in our heads first. And I feel like the baby steps, we're gonna end up changing them. I think it's nice to see the green.
Okay. There's definitely a balance, isn't there? Of that you gotta do some planning so you know sort of what to write. And actually, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, Hiroshi, but the nice thing about planning is it does get everybody aligned and it helps you explore some things. But yes, being action oriented and planning oriented.
I
Excellent.
think she did a good job because she was talking about like the next function.
Yeah,
She suggested it, so it's like it's a little bit ahead, but it's not like crazy. Like, oh, let's do this thing. Like.
Well, right, and I think we started to do that a couple of times where it's like, oh yeah, let's I think it was the whole player. Do we dive into the scoring or do we do the player too? Turns out we did both in the same time box, but we had to decide where to start. And probably if we tried to do both at the same time, it would have taken even longer. Maybe. Sweet, excellent. Okay, let's rotate. Thanks for checking that in. Who's next? That Logan, Leo. Okay. Yeah.
Are you am I driving? Okay. What should I do?
So what was that Shiryoshi suggested? No.
Well, you can ask Ryoshi what she was thinking.
Okay, what was that you suggested?
I was thinking after line 15, like initially what we have done is there should be two separate methods for increment player 1 score and player 2 score, but the code that we have written is somewhat common. So what we need to do is we can separate this out as a common method and call that increment player score, and it will have a argument or parameter as like score. That would be like you can write it, like I can tell you write in line number 24 in tennis class.
Well, Shiryoshi, if I may, there might be some IntelliJ refactoring magic that might make this really easy. Would you mind exploring that first?
Yeah, we can do that. You can select from line 16 to 22 and right click, and there would be like extract.
Actually, I had another idea though, even before that.
Mm-hmm.
What if we made player 1 a variable in this method and then extract the rest of the code into an own method, and that way you would get the method with the parameter that you pass in for the player. Shoshi, did that make sense? I don't know if I explained it very well.
That made sense to me.
Yeah. We can do that.
Does it make sense to the driver?
I am lost. Who's making decisions here?
Well, right now, I mean, I think it's the mob talking with the navigator about that, if we want to pursue that or not.
Logan, you have the executive.
Sure, oh, I'm sorry, and Logan's the navigator. I'm talking to like Shiryoshi. Sorry, I'm not looking at the right person here.
What do I do?
So the idea was to create I think I kind of missed what you were saying.
Yeah, extract player 1 into a variable, and then because player 1 is a field, right? So and then you'll have a variable declaration with player 1, and then you'll have like all of the if statements and stuff, and then extract the method out of those if statements. Because that's what Shiroshi was saying, was to extract a method out of the if statements. But I think if we extract a variable first, then you'll have a parameter
I see.
to that
So
method.
basically, we'd still have two different functions for increment, but they would call the same function.
Yeah, and I'm thinking IntelliJ might do something like really spiffy.
Okay.
We'll see.
Would you
So
happen to know what that is?
Oh, how to extract? Actually, does the driver already know?
nope.
Okay. So yeah, so then what you do is you click on the like player one, and then do a right click and say refactor extract variable.
No, introduce variable.
Oh, sorry, introduce variable. You're right. Thank you.
Okay.
Just call it player, I
Error.
guess.
Mhm.
And then
And we have to change.
would the rest be like a separate method?
We have to change the player one in every if statement.
Yeah, you need to hit
Yeah,
return.
yeah.
Okay. That's weird.
Enter?
Yeah, if you click on like the word player there and hit return, I think it'll rename the rest of them. Oh, it didn't. I wonder why that happened. That's not what I expected.
Let's just do it the old-fashioned way.
Okay, sorry. How come they're all gray? Oh. Never mind, that's not gonna work, is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Now extract.
Yep. Okay, so please, so revert that. Because what we're assigning it to the yeah.
Basically changing the object. And then
Let's continue on. Yeah, I think now I'm being too clever.
Can I have a say?
Yes.
I think the original way of like making the same method and just calling that with an argument should be just fine.
You agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone agree? And should we change the tests first before?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Let's do that. Okay. So let's just do this and then score player and then tests. We would do.
I think that was correct.
Sorry, what was that, Shiroshi?
So outside of the class test, we should be implementing per score play only. Right? So that was right.
We need a get method. I just do this first. Get
player.
player one. Okay. Yeah, and then make it up. Yeah. And then
Why I don't wanted that, because it is a test class and there should not be much logic in the test class.
Oh, interesting.
what? Are you sure is it?
Sure, can you repeat that, please?
Actually, we are trying to write all the logic in the test class. So it should be like previously only like we were incrementing player one score and player two score. So that was fine instead of like getting the player one, player two, because we have not like our test was running fine previously, but now we have to introduce two different methods.
So
And yeah,
what
we have.
we can just have a player variable in the test, set that to loud, and then just pass that in instead of create that get player.
So we want to create a separate.
Because we're dealing
score.
with doing too much.
Yeah.
So let's just create player variable in that test and initialize it to loud.
Yeah, Shiroshi?
Yeah, can you make, why there's an error, can you correct that first? Okay, you rename the method. In line number 14, just write it player one only, player one score. Then you, and remove this score player.
Okay.
So 1 second, let me try. Write the one after player one. Line number 14, the method name.
Back to player one.
Yeah, now everything is fine. Just try to do one thing. Copy from line 16 to 22. Just select it, means. And then next, right click, extract, refactor, extract method. Now call it, call it increment player score. And yeah, player score, and there should be the an argument, score, and score, and call it score, SCORE.
Score?
Yeah, score. And now replace replace the player one inside the method to score
So you can
everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah, but not, okay, well,
yeah, we don't just return this. Okay, instead of 21, line number 21, you can write return. Just remove the player one and equal to, and you can return it. Return score dot capital score, capital the enum.
What?
There is an enum class, so you can write
Oh, okay,
4.15.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah.
So driver, do you know
F capital.
so extracting this?
That was what I was thinking earlier.
Yeah. But see, we see it now.
Yeah, now you can change the player one to score in every the time.
Okay,
So just to tie things up together, so Shiroshi, so what you were trying to suggest is that we have this extracted method that is called in both increment player one and increment player two.
Yes,
All
and
the
the result would be set to player one and player two respectively in each method.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I like that.
Okay, so we still want to tie up this method though.
We do, but let's do the next round. Because I really want to retrospect on this round. This was fascinating. So what did we observe? You can go ahead and check
Can
it
I just say originally that I think that was where everyone was coming from. And that's the thing about planning ahead, right? Because everyone has different ways of saying the same thing.
Yeah, and then I
We lost
I think I totally derailed things. Was saying, oh, let's use the magical, and then I think I came to the same conclusion. Then like it took us 2 minutes back, to get back around to it again. Yeah, sorry.
So I was kind of lost because I was like trying to comprehend what everyone's kind of trying to say.
Yeah.
Everyone's coming from, and it's all pretty much an agreement, but disagreement with the way of how it's been done.
There's a couple of things that I observed that was like hindering our workflow, which is we have a group here and we're trying to hear over.
Yeah, it was a little hard for us to hear. I think your microphone was like getting rubbed against something, and sometimes your words were lost.
Yeah, so having like a hybrid of like remote workers and in-office workers, that I can see there's potential, and like there's certain rounds where, or like my round when I was navigator, where I can just be the bigger voice and just kind of shut down. Like if something isn't something that I want to go with, I can just shut down. I can just talk to you and just be like, implement this.
And physically, right? You turned to face her. You were no longer making eye contact with me, so I'd like have to
Whereas
right.
people in the remote have less power, and say once I speak louder than them, and I could just shut it down. So then you lose the balance. So then this round, I tried to like be a backseater a little bit more, and Shiroshi like took over and like suggested some good ideas, but then we lost our navigator.
Right. So what did you observe?
Well, I'm just not a very loud or confrontational person, so like being the navigator for me is just not what I do. So as soon as someone else starts talking, I'm like, okay, I'll just let them.
But I bet you had some. Were there ideas that you wanted to bring? Because you might have seen that like way before any of us, while we were also messing around with it. So
yeah, I was just trying to follow what other people were thinking. So
what would you have wanted instead? Because I mean, I feel like you kind of lost your opportunity to be the navigator because the rest of us took it over.
I think what we're doing now is what I was trying to get to anyways, with like have both methods doing the same thing, so we don't have to have the code exactly the same twice.
But the round before this one, we all probably saw the same solution, but we got derailed.
I know, yeah, right. I totally. All part of the lesson, right? Yeah. Sweet. Well, and actually, that's probably also a really good lesson about like what happens when the person with power speaks up.
Yeah.
Right. Or privilege, or any other P word. Okay. Cool. Excellent. Let's see here. I think you were the last on the list.
Yeah, the last on the list.
Do you want me to drive, or does someone else want to drive?
Sure.
Navigator.
So
Okay. I'll drive. Okay.
And then we can all navigate.
Okay, awesome. So let me, I will share my screen and I will get the code, pull everything down, take myself off the screen, all sorts of good stuff. Okay, so oops. Oh, sorry, where do you go next?
yeah, we were in test class trying to implement something.
Test tennis, right? Tennis
Oh,
test?
tennis test.
Test.
Or test class.
Oh, in the tennis class?
Yeah.
Too,
Tennis
okay.
class.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tennis. Let's put it to the right. Let's put it to the right. Okay. So let's see here. Where should we start?
We left off trying to implement that extracted method.
So I commented that now because it was broken.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Okay. What should I type?
So we don't need to set anything, we're just returning the score. So return score 15, return score 30, score 40.
Yeah. So the first thing we do is if we're returning the score, then yeah, have to type return forward. Yeah. That's good. And
That's
then
weird. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then just change all those returns.
and
What
then,
looks cleaner to you, having a score label in here and then the return at the end, or return in every single event?
Okay. Oh, thank you. Change these to score too. Okay. Sweet. And this isn't compiling because it's missing return
that
statements.
we don't have
Should we do?
else. What will be the like?
I want my bear one.
What will be the last case? Yes, thing. It's like we want to think really far ahead.
I don't want to think really far ahead.
It's not far ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just create a score variable and then return at the time.
Okay.
You can set it.
What?
Okay. Return score like this.
Is that
Outside the head.
Isn't this, do you not have like a ton of return statements? Just put like a temporary variable and then it's like.
Yeah.
Oh, but look, but they're passing in its way.
yeah? That was
Legal syntax is not going to mess with it. I think it's confusing.
I mean, we have a variable called points. Yeah, a variable type score called
Okay.
inside here, like online.
And then say like points equals.
Points equals all of these, and above line 20.
We have to call the increment player method from line number 16.
Yeah, we'll do that too. I'm just running this to see where we're at.
so like we need the records and then add it back to everyone's score because we follow
That one makes sense.
because like we're making a common method, so like we can play on
it's
score.
up there.
So yeah, in increment player 1 score and player 2 score, we have to call it and set the variable player 1.
Player 1. Set it again to player 1 because we are not setting it.
Player 1
Mm.
and it has to do the same for
Is that make a difference to our tests? I guess it really won't.
Yeah, I don't really.
Actually, no, it's like a player two
Player two
is.
What? Oh, player two is fine, because I would think.
Oh, we haven't changed it. Okay, okay. So then we can replace all this. With two equals two. Okay. Yeah, you're back then. Okay. What's the next test?
Would you like to make the logic of these?
Let him drive and tell me what to type.
So, what do you want to check for? If these, when both players are up to 40, or let's test for 40 first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when both players have 40, then what? It's deuce?
Yeah.
What is deuce?
They score is deuce, or do we just want to keep it at 40? Wait, I haven't seen a tennis match in a long time. Do they feel like 40 when it's the deuce?
No, by definition, deuce only happens at 40, right?
However, yeah.
15, 15.
Because now we have to think about the game.
No, I'm just like thinking about it as like.
Deuce can happen after 40.
Yeah,
Oh,
you have
because
an
you go
advantage.
back.
You have an
Oh,
advantage. So like,
yeah,
I'm just thinking from a spectator point of view, like on the scoreboard, if they just keep getting 40. I mean, they'll do like. Yeah, deuce the advantage. Yeah. So, do you want to check the deuce or do you want to check the 40?
We need to know these because from these now the player is running.
I was thinking about a point like we don't have a check regarding if you're trying to increment after 40, what happens, what our code should do.
That's true.
Okay, well, so then I want to write the test first. So basically, let's see here. So we will, so player one, that's player one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and so it should have, and then yeah, I just want to have the assert that I got that right. So that should be player one score equals to 40, and then we can do this, and now let's do the case. So one, two, that's all.
What was the shortcut for this, like selecting?
Sorry, Shirley, what was that?
Yeah, you did select the player, then you change 1 to 2. How did you do that?
I just want to make sure I got that. Okay, good. And now we want to say increment player one increments again, and now they have advantage. How do we represent advantage? Is that a new enum type?
Yeah.
Okay. Advantage. Oops, not the old English spelling. Okay, and so we'll create that. And however, we still also want to insert the player. Oh, that's player two. So player one has advantage, and we want to say that player two is still at 40, right? Okay. Nice. Okay, so let's run this again. Fail. Yeah. Okay, it is like expected, right? Yep. Sorry? Oh, good point. Yeah, I don't know if that's meaningful or not, but it certainly doesn't make sense.
And then the next thing would be in the increment, you need to add that code. So you can add it at the top. As its own individual bit. So it's like,
Oh, yeah,
when you
well.
check player one and player two are both into 40, then implement the advantage.
Do we really? Because the test passes without it, I think. Oh, no, I didn't like that. Oh, right, okay. Oh, you're right, no, you're right, because we did it both of them, okay. Ugh, how do we do that? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and so that means we need to pass in both player scores now?
Does this method have side effects that
Well, not at the moment, because they want to pass in one. So.
it doesn't matter if it's faster. Yeah, it's up to you. Only the incidents is what if it's like long or
We're out of time. We're getting close though. Good deal. Okay. I think we've done. I mean, everybody got a chance to redo both roles, right? And everybody got a chance to be a mobber also. So even though it's broken, I will ignore this. It's disabled. Well, okay. So like overall, what did we think? Mob, what were some of our holistic observations? How do you think we ended up? What are some things that you want to take with you into your next mob programming?
What do you have to say? I think definitely wants to know more about the last. I mean, like all the examples. Yeah. I think we kind of did that. Well, whenever we expanded into the like functional language, like we have assessing it, kind of pseudo debating along with it, and then next time, next try we kind of come together on this scenario. I think there's a lot of like talking done to, and we're all saying the same thing, or just like talking and saying the same thing. Like, yeah, we should do this, we should do this. Yeah, and then we explain why, and then like, I know why, because I'm thinking the same thing, you're thinking, probably thinking the same thing, you're thinking, yeah. And we have a lot of like brain power right here, and I do a very simple task. And so it's kind of this thing of like this stepping on each other's toes and being like, yeah, we're trying to get this thing done. And whereas in pair programming, it's lightning fast. It's like only there's only two people talking about what needs to be done, and you do it. But I think as far as like designing and thinking about design, Triyoshi had a lot of knowledge about how she wanted to structure the way things were, like all the methods are, being structured and trying to refactor things to be more efficient and more easier to read, or, and I'm sure everyone else had their own ideas. So I think in mob sessions, it's good to think about, like, it's good to check for design. Like, we have a lot of knowledge collectively to make good design choices. But then when it comes to like very granular tasks, like it's just like simply, we're just doing a simple, incrementer. It might be.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing about the katas, right? Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. Excellent. Okay. Any other thoughts from the mob? Well, super cool. I had fun. This was good. I enjoyed it. And thank you everybody at home for watching. And so let's take a 10-minute break. Come back at 7:30, and then we'll go into breakout rooms, and everyone will have an opportunity to experience ensemble programming. Okay. Let's see here. Now we had an opportunity to do some to see some ensemble programming in action, and now everybody's going to have a chance to do it. And so then here is the bank OCR kata. I will post this in the meeting chat. Basically, what you're doing. So the mob katas are purposefully more complex than the pair programming katas were. So here, what you'll be doing is you'll be basically taking in some text that is numbers made out of like LCD numbers, and then parsing them in, and then validating that they were read correctly. There's further stuff. There's additional user stories, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's just aim for user story 1 tonight, because we'll spend, I don't know, an hour 15 minutes doing this. So there's the link, and again, every room has its own project here in the bank OCR directory in the GitHub project. And let's see here. Without further ado, are there any questions that people have before we go into breakout rooms? Let's see here. We've got 19 students. That's 3 times 6. So I'll make 3 breakout rooms in Zoom. I will let you all choose a room. Please have at least 5 people in every room. Oh, wait, so I make 4. No, let's do 3. And let's just see how it goes. So let's see here. Breakout rooms are open. Feel free to assign yourselves. I'm going to pause the recording, and as you, if you need me for anything, just summon me.
Okay. When we got to that optimizing complexity part, I was like, wait, this is just fixed. We know the end. It's fixed. Why are we optimizing?
Okay, hey, we're all back from our time ensemble programming. I poked my head into the Zoom breakout rooms. Also overheard what was happening here in the classroom. Lots of good learning happening. Lots of good discussion. And so now I'd like to give each mob an opportunity to report out on what they observed. We of course captured things in the document, and I'll just put the document up on screen here. But I wanted to start with the folks here in the classroom, and they call themselves Room 7. So what'd you think? Now, I mean, I think almost everybody here got some experience with me earlier, but let's put some subset of you on screen here. So what did you think? What was the same? What was different? What did you learn? Logan?
I thought it was pretty fun. Especially, I feel like in pair programming, it's a bit more intense because it's just back and forth between one person. But I don't know, maybe that's just what I prefer. But yeah, and then we had some discussion on the board for a while, so we didn't really get started coding again.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that all, but yeah, lots of chicken scratch there, and Dan's writing APL over there. You guys know what the APL programming language? Ever heard of it?
Is it a functional programming?
No. Well, it's like the symbolic, like literally the code looks like that, where it's got all these Greek letters and everything. It's math. It's it's insane. Anyway, sorry. I digress.
I think the cool thing about mob programming versus pair programming is there's a lot more ideas and different skill sets that were brought to the table, which didn't happen before, because it's like we all have such different experiences. It's kind of cool.
I feel like building on that, like the more everyone discuss, it's like it becomes less of a debate, but and it becomes more of like getting to know what the person's strengths are.
Okay, yeah.
And not so much weaknesses, because everyone's trying to contribute. And then we arrive at a point that, hey, everyone's got good ideas. It's just which one do we go off of, or who's sharing the same idea, and
Right.
yeah.
And how you decide. Yeah.
If everyone is equal in the team, right? Besides like the government navigator, so that means all the ideas are supposedly equal in the manner of which they're presented. So the likelihood of an idea being good is usually going to be like the same. So what that means is there's going to be a lot of merged conflicts with like valid ideas. And how do you say, well, I accept their idea, or you say my idea is better, so you override their commit. You know,
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
in specific in regards to ideas, right? Because multiple good ideas for how to do things.
Yeah, it sounded like there was a lot of like group dynamics versus like individual dynamics, right? So pair programming, it was like, okay, maybe you don't get along with that one person, or you're like just talking over each other. Here, there's just all that more to. Yeah, awesome, cool.
Yeah. In-person mob sessions, there's a lot more chaos, which means there's the feedback loop is insanely quick. We're talking like immediately right now, right here.
Just facial expressions too.
You read
Yeah.
you read each other's facial expressions. You can tell when someone's pissed. When we were
Was that?
no let's
I have a resting bitch face.
we can
Usually.
we were debating on like squishing it down to 1D. Okay, anyway, I was the navigator, by the way. You were the driver. But yeah, like Dan said, there's a lot of great ideas, but when we're trying to call for consensus, the hard thing is, do we do a democratic vote, or do we have like a team lead who just says, hey, this is the path forward and this is what we're going to go with?
Vote by acclamation.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Whereas remote, like at any given time, there can just be like a voice.
You have to have a Twitter poll or something like
Yeah.
that. And it's all awkward.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Excellent. Wow, great learning. Thank you all so much. I'm gonna go plug in now, and so we can get everybody on the good speakers. Awesome, cool. I'm gonna ask room 1 to report out next. Let me get you on the speaker so everybody here in the classroom can hear you. Let's see here in room 1. Let's see, what is that? Yep, and there are a couple of chats that came in. Oh, thanks for putting the link to the doc there. Let's see here. Room 1 was James and Junyi and Max and Shiryoshi. Dan was here in the room, and then Zheng Mao. Would you like to come off mute and share some of your experiences mob programming?
Yeah, I can speak up. Kind of like what we said in the boxes there. I personally found it helpful to have a couple different ways of viewing like a problem. You know, a couple people different people are going to implement something a couple different ways. So that was kind of nice. I learned a couple new things myself. I felt it's easy to feel kind of pushy. You like want to speak up to be helpful, but yeah, it feels like you're just always speaking up. I don't know. Maybe that was just my experience, but yeah, it was interesting. It was fun.
Yeah, to add to that, for the like less hangups on smaller details, at least my experience with like the pair programming was sometimes you could get like really into the weeds about like a certain way to do things, whereas this way it didn't feel that way, because maybe just because there were so many people that it was like, why even bother talking about that, because everyone's going to have a different way to do it, and we were able to focus on bigger picture more and just like get the stuff implemented without worrying about like little things like names or what order to like initialize our variables and stuff.
Excellent. Other observations from room 1? Excellent. Okay. Thank you. Room 2, Deepika, Kashambi, Nathaniel, Ruchir, and Timothy. What was your experience like?
Maybe I can go. Okay, so the overall experience of mob programming, okay, it was awesome. I really didn't expect like we'd be able to finish a little bit on time. Like because I felt like in the beginning itself, we had like some ideas, and yeah, we weren't making much progress, but we did make progress in the end, and that was awesome. And I thought like it really helped, like everyone was giving their ideas and the others would build off of those ideas, so that was kind of helpful. In the middle, during the session, I think there was a time when there were multiple navigators. I think probably in the beginning, like everyone was navigating, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're never gonna make progress like that." But then I think we got a hang of it as we were doing it, and then we did make progress. So I felt like, yeah, we were kind of learning. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds like a great experience. Others from room two? Room two?
So going off of kind of what she said, yeah, at the beginning, everybody was kind of, were being navigators, but then towards the end, when we kind of got like more structure, kind of got, at least to me, it kind of felt like, well, what am I doing here now? If there's 5 of us and really only 3 people could do something at a time, it's kind of like, what am I need to be here?
Cool. And so then, did that feeling last for a while, or was it sort of like fleeting for you?
Well, no, it kind of built up over time, really. It changed because I was like the last person to go, so it went away because I was doing something. But like, I mean, I guess it would probably fluctuate back and forth if we were to do more than one cycle each. I'm not a fan of this personally.
Yeah, well, good to know. But thank you for trying, and there might be another opportunity where we have a different experience. Anybody else from room two would like to weigh in? Great. On to room three. It was Devin, John, Nicole, Rajat, Tanner, and Theo. What would you like to contribute to the conversation?
Yeah, well, one thing that we talked about was that we weren't keeping track. So keeping track of the time. So things kind of, some would go on a long time and some would go, mostly long time. I don't think we went through all rotations, but that was one
Kind of
idea.
just jumped into the weeds on it. There were a lot of ideas that went around, so I guess it was kind of a little cluttered in that respect, but it was good because there was a lot of variance of experience, and I think that brought a lot of value. And there was a lot of talking, although because of so many ideas and how difficult they were to explain in varying ways, it kind of led to a couple snags. But
yeah, I think
other than
having
that,
a whiteboard would have helped us probably, or
Definitely,
using
yeah.
the whiteboarding to visualize ideas quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
The death of Zoom annotations, that function. I don't know why they removed that, where you could have a little pointer on the screen. Definitely is a hindrance.
Oh yeah, I don't see it anymore. Well,
Yeah, it's been gone for like a while, and it's terrible. I don't know who decided that.
yeah, I
will
wonder
have
if
to
Zoom
talk
turned it
to-
off because they were worried about defacement or something like that.
I want to speak to Zoom's manager about this,
That's good.
but yeah.
I wonder if that's an option I can turn on. Sharing. Yeah, maybe it's
You
not
might-
on the meeting. I don't know.
Yeah, you might be able to look at like the meeting settings, like on the
Yeah.
actual Zoom website. But
Right.
I've looked for it on
Bummer.
Zoom meetings that I've ran, and
Yeah.
it's gone. To the best
Okay.
of my knowledge.
yeah.
Cool. Anybody else from room three? Well, thank you very much for sharing all the things that you learned, all the experiences. This was really cool. As you might recall me saying, I haven't been this structured in the pair and mob programming in the past, and I'm seeing different results now. I think people are a little bit more engaged and thinking a little bit more critically about how they go about pairing and mobbing. So I hope it's leading to a better educational experience. And so then next week, we'll do another round of mobbing ensembling for those of you who want to experience it. I encourage you to do so. You can compare and contrast, work with different people. Show up in the classroom. We got whiteboards and plenty of room and chairs and stuff too. So there is a reflection assignment that is due. Actually, I pushed it 1 week later, so it's due before the final exam. For you to go into more detail about your own personal experience and your learnings, and will be able to integrate knowledge that's gained over multiple mobbing sessions. Also next week, we're going to see Project 6. So even if you don't plan on mobbing, I do encourage you to attend that live so you can ask questions. We'll be setting up the Android project. We will, and we'll start doing some Android coding so that you all can see what that's about. And please read please watch the lectures in addition to finishing up the project files. That's the good stuff. Okay. Oh, I saw a question come in on chat, or something come in on chat. Do we need to complete the kata with our respective mobs, or leave it at the point we reached today? Leave it at the point we reached today. The goal of the kata is not to do the kata. The goal of the kata is to experience mobbing or pairing. There is no grade. Your grade is not determined by the code that you wrote. It's the experience that you had. And also, will we need a new editor for Android? The answer is yes. You'll be installing Android Studio. Feel free to start that process yourself. I'm also going to put together a tutorial this weekend and put it on YouTube, and you all can watch it before class next week, and then play along at home. Okay. Well, I can tell by the sound of everybody leaving, it's time to go, and it is. So have a great night, everybody. It was good seeing everybody again, and look forward to next week. In the meantime, reach out on Slack and have fun with Project 5. See you later.
Thanks, David.
Bye.